this video, we will take a look at how long a xenomorph lives. We will break down each phase of its life cycle, explaining its different lifespan at every stage, from the egg to the queen, and then list out the longest living specimens ever recorded in the franchise. Let's get to it. The xenomorph's journey begins inside the ovomorph, a leathery egg-like structure that houses the next stage of the creature's development. Surprisingly, the ovomorph itself can remain viable for hundreds or even thousands of years. Think of it like an organic time capsule, lying in wait for the perfect host to wander too close. As long as the environmental conditions allow, this egg can hibernate indefinitely, keeping the developing next stage safely dormant. Its resilience ensures that the entire nest of ovomorphs can survive long after viable hosts have perished. This was seen in the case of the derelict spaceship's ovomorph nest, which has been dormant for thousands of years in the second movie Aliens. So when we come to the next stage, the facehugger, this creature's mission is singular: to implant an embryo into a host. A facehugger is a burst of frantic energy, designed to survive for only a few hours outside of the egg. Its metabolism is so rapid that it needs to latch on to a host quickly, otherwise it will die. However, inside the ovomorph, a facehugger can remain dormant for as long as the egg remains intact, waiting for that perfect moment. This contrast between its long dormancy and brief active phase shows its strange nature, and so after it has successfully implanted an embryo in the chest of the host, it will release its grip and just die, which shows that the implantation is its sole purpose in life. Then once implanted, the embryo grows inside the host until it becomes a notorious chestburster, which emerges violently after a few hours of gestation. Outside the host, the chestburster quickly scurries to safety, and in mere hours beginning the rapid growth and transformation into its adult form. This stage is brief, almost frenzied, as the creature's survival instincts push it to find shelter and encase itself in a cocoon to fuel its next phase. In this transformation phase, it grows into an adult xenomorph, which involves a cocoon stage, where the creature spins a protective layer around itself to mature into a drone. This period can last only a few hours, much like the stages before it. In a remarkable short time, the chestburster undergoes a complete metamorphosis, preparing itself to emerge as a fully grown killer. Now the drone represents the standard xenomorph adult variation. In its earliest depictions, like the original big chap from Alien 1979, the drone was theorized to live only for a few days, or maybe even just a few weeks. Driven by its fast metabolism, it will gradually slow down and die. However, by the time of Aliens of 1986, the lifespan of drones was reconsidered, extending to more than a few weeks, maybe to a couple of months. These creatures are efficient, rapid killers, but their metabolism still limits their longevity in active duty. Interestingly, drones can survive in extreme conditions, even going into suspended animation in space or in environments hostile to most life, allowing them to outlive their expected lifespan. The original xenomorph, called Big Chap from the first movie Alien, moved slower by the end of its appearance, hinting at a toll of age. But thanks to Ripley jettisoning it off into space, its body automatically reacted and encased the xenomorph in a hibernating cocoon, becoming dormant in space for 20 years until it was retrieved by the Weyland-Yutani crew members of the Romulus station 20 years in the future. We also have to consider the next stages of a drone, which are the warrior and the pretorian. As xenomorphs evolve further into warrior or pretorian forms, their lifespan extends a bit more due to necessity. These forms represent higher stages of the hive's defense force, and as such, they may live longer than drones, perhaps several months to even a year, especially if they are really needed or vital to protect a queen or the hive. Their greater physical resilience and increased combat role suggest a longer existence than the earlier, more disposable drone stage. Then at the top of the xenomorph hierarchy is the queen. Unlike the more short-lived drones, queens are built to last. Their role as the egg layers and the leaders of the hive requires longevity, allowing them to hibernate and awaken as needed, sometimes across hundreds or even thousands of years. The queen from LV-426 from Aliens was relatively young, but the queen in Alien vs Predator Requiem was thousands of years old, surviving by entering long periods of hibernation. Some queens, like the one found in Antarctica, would wake up periodically to lay eggs every century or so, sustaining their brood over eons. So if we draw comparison to like Earth insects like ants or bees, we see a similar pattern. Worker ants and bees live only for a few weeks or months, much like the drone xenomorphs, due to their high metabolic rates and labor-intensive roles. Queens, however, live much longer, often for years or even decades, as their role is central to the hive's continuity. This pattern is mirrored in the xenomorph species, where workers, the drones, they burn out quickly, but queens endure, ensuring the survival of the brood, or the hive. So if we tally the entire lifespan of a xenomorph, including the ovomorph, facehugger, chestburster, drone, and queen stages, the creature can potentially exist for thousands of years. While the early stages after the ovomorph are only measured in terms of hours, the individual drones or warriors are a bit longer lived, but they also only live for weeks or months at the most. That's their full life cycle. But with the queens at the helm, this stretches far beyond that of the normal drones and can extend to hundreds or even thousands of years, making them an enduring long-term threat to humanity. However, without a queen or a hive, a xenomorph would die after only a relatively short amount of time, which explains why Planet 4 in Alien Covenant wasn't swarming with neomorphs and belugomorphs. These variants don't have a queen stage. They were imperfect species. Hence, when the crew landed, the crew of the Covenant, the planet was seen to be devoid of animal life, because they had all been hunted to extinction, killed by these creatures, and then the resultant creatures only lived to further the death of other animal life until everything was exhausted, and then they also died, leaving only spore pods in their wake. Now that we have explained the lifespan of the xenomorphs, let's take a look at the oldest xenomorph specimens as far as we know, while leaving the comment section open for you all to fill in our gaps in knowledge. The clone Auriga queen lived for only a few weeks or months, the one seen in Alien Resurrection. It was created through human experimentation and was killed by the newborn. The LV-426 queen was a few months old, surviving after a hive was established on Hadley's Hope and is probably still dormant in space right now. Big Chap is 20 years old, if the dormant state is also counted, since he was jettisoned into space in 2122 and then was active once more in the Romulus station in 2142, 20 years in the future. So next, the Deacon. It was born in the year 2091 and became a mountain, an organic mountain, by the year 2219, as seen in the Fire and Stone comics, so its age is roughly 128 years. Then we have the Antarctica Queen, which was depicted in Alien vs Predator and was over 2000 years old, awakening periodically to lay eggs every 100 years or so. Then the matriarch from Aliens vs Predator the game of 2010 was likewise thousands of years older than even the Antarctica Queen, and this is evident due to her showing signs of senility and aging. Then lastly, the Empress from LV-1201 and the Queen Mother are some of the most ancient of their specimens, commanding entire broods for millennia, with the Queen Mother being the oldest ever and even commanding other broods telepathically in other planets. And with that, we end this topic on the lifespan of xenomorphs and the oldest specimens ever. Now if you liked this video, then watch this other one too, and do check out our channel for other dragon, monster, xenomorph content. We might have things we haven't seen before. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.